I got 3 tips for fat loss and muscle gain. I want everybody to be able to use these. These are some of the biggest mistakes I see and they need to be corrected. It can only help you. You can use it yourself, with your clients, with your athletes. Break it all down. It's gonna be super simple. Anybody can do this and everybody should be doing this. So let's jump right in. I'm David Barr, and if you're looking to get bigger, faster, stronger, get leaner, go longer, hit that subscribe and then the little bell so you don't miss the latest updates. And I'm going to one-up it for this video because if you think that objective evidence is a better way of establishing beliefs than subjective feelings, special feelings, then you can help advance the conversation by sharing the info in this video. Quick shout out to Dr. Todd Miller, who runs the metabolic lab at GW University. Watched a great talk of his at one of the recent NSCA personal trainers conferences. It was fantastic. It inspired me to do this video. So I think this is really going to help, and we'll look at things in a slightly different way. If you want specific videos for muscle growth tips, I'll link to that in the top once I do those. Also do one for fat loss tips. Once again, I'll link to that up above and in the description, so be sure to check for those in the near future. Tip number 1, focus on strength training. Probably the biggest, most fundamental mistake I see people make is way too much focus on cardio. I don't know where this came from, but I have an idea, and it comes back to the idea, the mythology behind fasted cardio. This idea that we're going to be burning more fat during exercise, and that's going to be stripped from our adipose tissue, the fat from under our skin, like our love handles, that we want to get rid of. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, and there's 2 main reasons for this. One is that the fat actually comes from both our muscle and adipose tissue. We actually store fat in our muscle. If you've ever seen a steak, if you've ever seen tuna or salmon, you see the fat, the marbling in that meat. That is muscle. We store fat there, and it's great for liberation during exercise. So that's where a lot of our fat storage is going to come from when we're talking about burning fat during exercise. Okay, it's not necessarily all our love handles. Now, the second component is that you really can't have a high intensity workout when you are consuming 0 food, when you are fasted, right? So we'll get to that in a bit, but keep that one in mind because that's an important one. And the other key to this is going to be that the fat that we're burning, great, we have this transient, short-lived fat burning during the fasted workout. Who cares? It's not what we're after. We're not after an hour's worth of fat burning, right? We want 24-hour fat burning. And this is why we need to focus more on strength training. We need to increase the muscle mass. I'm not talking about getting jacked and swole per se. Women don't have to worry about gaining too much muscle. It's one of those things that we can work around. You're not going to get too big. But we want to focus on preserving that lean muscle mass. That's our engine that's going to burn our fat, and it's going to do it 24 hours a day. Our biggest calorie sink is our muscle tissue, but it's also going to burn fat the longest, and it's called the RMR, resting metabolic rate. And when we diet, our body starts to shut down to preserve calories for survival. Our RMR starts to drop. Lean muscle mass is going to help keep that elevated. How do we keep that? Well, in part by focusing on strength training. Now, if you're working with clients who are concerned about getting too big, putting on too much muscle, there's ways around that. You can convince them that they're just not going to get too big. Like, it's not going to happen. I'm sure most of you watching this know that, but it's a really simple hurdle to get over. Now, as far as strength training, it can actually boost RMR for up to 36 hours after a training bout. Okay, so we're not even talking a boost of 24 hours, 24-hour fat burning, calorie burning, right? We're talking about 36 hours. And there's another key in there. The focus is not on short-term fat loss, it's on overall caloric expenditure. How much are we burning compared to how much are we bringing in? Okay, so fasted cardio, you're not burning very much at all. Great, you're burning a little bit of fat, but who cares? Because it's a short period of time. A lot of it comes from muscle. So if you love fasted cardio, then by all means, keep doing it. It's not really harmful. It's just one of those things, it's not really going to make a big difference. Again, the focus should be on strength training. Preserve that lean muscle mass that your body's going to want to start breaking down. Keep in mind, muscle doesn't just take a lot of energy to build and preserve. It takes a lot of energy just sitting there. It's a very metabolically active tissue. Okay, we want that. The rest of our cells don't want that for survival. The cells want to preserve calories, so they shut down metabolic rate in part by losing lean muscle mass. Again, we want to fight against that if we're trying to build muscle and lose fat. Last point on this, if you're working with somebody new and they're new to strength training, they want to build muscle, lose fat, the strength gain can be very, very motivating, especially during those first 8 weeks when the strength gains are pretty incredible. That can be very, very motivating to prospective clients, especially if they've never done this before, especially if they're trying to lose weight at the same time, trying to lose body fat. This is the perfect way to keep them motivated, keep them going. Tip number 2, you're going to be dropping calories, no question, but you have to increase relative protein intake. A lot of people be afraid of this. They still fear that protein's gonna hurt your calories. I mean, I had somebody call me out during a talk asking me why I'm recommending protein intakes that are harmful to kidneys. Like, this is not the 1960s, okay? We know that for healthy people, higher protein intakes are not harmful. In fact, they're great for helping to preserve lean body mass. Remember, our body's going to want to be breaking down that lean tissue. And we're going to be dropping calories, so we're only exacerbating that process. So if we're dropping calories from fats and carbs, we need to increase relative protein intake. And this could be about 1 to 1.4 grams per pound of lean body mass. Okay, not total body mass, but lean body mass. And it's one of those things you can figure out your body fat percentage, figure out your lean body mass, and then do the calculation 1 to 1.4, and that's your grams of protein per day. Now, for a lot of people, this is going to be increasing protein intake, taking in more calories from protein. So don't forget that you have to drop your fat and your carb calories to a slightly greater degree. This is part of a semi-novel concept in nutrition. Even RDs are getting on board this, and that's adjusted macronutrient distribution range, or AMDR. It's a relatively new concept, but it means that we're not just going to lock into a specific percent of a macro. We're going to have it flexible. We're going to adjust it based on the needs of the client or the athlete. So in this case, that means increasing protein intake when needed and dropping it back when we don't need as much. Tip number 3, big mistake I see people make: fuel your workout. So if you're dropping carbs to try to lose body fat, that's fine. You might even like it. That's great. That's exciting. But man, you gotta fuel the workout. This goes back to the flaw with the fasted cardio. You really want to fuel your workout so you can have a higher intensity workout, because the workout's going to be the stimulus. It's going to be the trigger that's going to help you preserve that lean muscle mass, keep your RMR elevated, and it's going to keep you burning that calorie source for 36 hours at a time. Fueling your workout by using carbohydrates before training is going to let you have a higher intensity workout, and the workout is the stimulus. It's the trigger that's going to help fuel your RMR. Keep going for that 36 hours afterwards. You're going to be burning calories for much longer, right? That is exactly what we are after, to keep that metabolic fire stoked. We don't want to lose the muscle. So how do we do that? Well, we've already talked about keep the protein high, focus on strength training, and fuel the workout. So if you're low carb and you go into a workout, what does your body want to burn during the workout? It wants to burn carbs, right? So you're not going to have as high intensity of a workout. You're not going to perform as well. So it's one of those things you need to focus on the training, and then once you're out of the gym, you can focus more on the diet. And that's why, I mean, we're covering 3 tips here. How many tips can we cover? 100 tips for muscle building, fat loss, athletic performance. I mean, this could just go on forever. I'm right now focusing on the 3 biggest mistakes I see people make, 3 simple fixes that people can make and dramatically change their muscle growth and fat loss. So these should be the highest impact tips. So what does fueling your workout look like? Well, it could be as simple as having 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrates before your workout. And don't forget, you have to take that calorie content into account. You're adding calories before your workout. They're very purposeful calories. These are very important calories. But don't forget to pull them out of the rest of your diet. So say drop 50 grams of carbs from elsewhere in your diet. Just get that powerful workout stimulus. And that's what fueling your workout's going to do. I am certainly not recommending caffeine, but could be a synergistic effect. Combining the carbohydrates and the caffeine help improve performance, especially in a caloric deficit situation. I'm not talking rigorous science here. This is just subjective perception. Typically it's something I stay away from, but I don't think this is too far of a stretch to say you're going to feel a lot better if you have caffeine an hour before and then some fast carbs before the workout. Not rocket surgery here, I don't think. So again, these are quick and simple tips. I want everybody to be able to apply these. Nothing too crazy or complex here. We're going to go into more detail, more science in other videos, but for this one, I really just wanted this to be a simple, quick take home that everybody can use. So just to recap, 3 tips. 1, skip the fasted cardio unless you really love it. Focus on strength training. Okay, you're not going to get too big. You're going to help preserve that lean muscle mass and keep your RMR, your resting metabolic rate, elevated. Tip number 2, increase relative protein intake. 1 to 1.4 grams per pound of lean body mass. This is again going to help preserve your fire, your metabolic fire. Keep it burning for over 36 hours. Keep that lean muscle mass. Tip number 3, fuel your workout. Make sure you can push hard when you need to. And that's going to be during the workout. So some carbs, maybe a little caffeine if you want to. An hour before, the carbs, say 30 minutes before, 45 minutes before, depending on what you're consuming. It's going to help push you through that workout, let you push harder to get that stimulus that you're after, that fat burning stimulus that's going to last 36 hours, stoking that resting metabolic rate. If you found this video helpful, you probably know someone else who could use it. Share it with them and they just might owe you a protein shake. Thanks for watching. I'm David Barr, and until next time, raise the bar.